The important point is that although China is not a member of TPP, it is actually a shadow negotiator. When TPP countries negotiate the text, they have China in mind, because sooner or later China may join TPP. Therefore, implicitly they always think what the impact on China if this text is agreed. Okay, so what is the status of the e-commerce at the WTO? There is a declaration called Global Declaration on the Global Electronic Commerce, which is done in 1998 at the second ministerial meeting of WTO. And unfortunately, e-commerce is not defined in this declaration. One important thing is that the moratorium was agreed not to impose customs duties on electronic transmissions. Then the question is, what is electronic transmissions? This is not really defined. One possibility is the medium of the transmission. The other possibility is the content of the transmission. So simply put, the question is whether digital products delivered by traditional medium can be covered by this agreement or not. Of course, digital products delivered through electronic transmission is covered by this agreement or this declaration, but it is unclear whether digital products delivered by traditional medium is covered by this declaration. And after that, there is some work conducted at Council on Trading Services, Trading Goods, Trade, and Council on Trade and Development at the WTO. But there has not been substantial outcome, partly because the overall progress of the Doha round has been very slow. One important breakthrough was made at the Trade Facilitation Agreement adopted at the Bali 2014, and which is about paperless trade. So regarding paperless trade, each member shall, where appropriate, endeavor to accept paper or electronic copies of supporting documents. The important point here is that still this is best endeavor. Shall endeavor is still not really binding obligation. Binding, but not really the shall endeavor. Not say the shall accept electronic format of the document. So this is the status of the e-commerce negotiation at the WTO. And some may argue that e-commerce is classified as services. Therefore, general agreement trading service should cover e-commerce. On the one hand, that's true, because traditional services is already covered by GATT. And here there is a very important principle which is called technological neutrality. So, for example, banking service is covered, then e-banking should be also covered. Essentially, we don't distinguish e-banking or banking, that is banking sector. So if countries make commit to liberalize banking sector, implicitly e-banking is also covered. Same is true for example, online shopping. If the distribution services is covered, then we can argue that online shopping is also covered. But the new services, such as search engine, is not really covered by WTO. And it is, some argue this is already covered by, for example, telecommunication services, but I'm not sure whether there is such consensus. And then let's move to FTA. The United States signed around 10 FTAs, and Australia, Chile, Singapore, Bahrain, Morocco, Oman, Peru, and there's the Central America and Dominican Republic, Panama, Colombia, and Korea. And all of US FTA has chapter on e-commerce, but e-commerce has not been defined in their FTA. But there are several keywords has been defined. For example, computing facilities, digital product, electronic authentication, electronic transmission, personal information, and unsolicited commerce electronic message. Those words are defined. Therefore, you can have some idea about what US FTA e-commerce chapter covered. Okay. And let's go to the e-commerce chapter in the US FTA. Regarding duties, it is agreed that no duties and fees on digital products delivered either by electronic transmission or digital medium. So, digital product delivered by traditional medium like parcel can be also covered by US FDA. One important footnote is that we need to think about the rule of origin. Some FDA signed by US have very broad concept of rule of origin. So digital products produced anywhere in the world should be imported duty-free. The other, some FDA, something like Korea, Singapore, Korea, US as well, digital products produced in the territory of the other party should be duty-free. So there is some difference in ideas. It's not easy to define the rule of origin of the digital product, so some FDA have broad concept. Wherever the digital product is produced, country should import duty-free. Some say that only the digital product produced in the partner's country. There is some agreement. There is some discussion about some variation in this regard. And the other things covered by e-commerce chapter in the US FDA is electronic authentication and online consumer protection and paperless trade and cross-border information flow. The last two, paperless trade and cross-border information flow, are used as best end of our tools. Then what about in the case of TPP? In the case of TPP regarding duties, no duties on electronic transmissions. So it doesn't say that no duty on digital product. This implies that digital product transmitted only by electronic means can be covered by this agreement. So digital product delivered by traditional means is outside the scope of this agreement. And the other thing is that the origin of the digital product is very narrow. As I said, some FDA said that any digital product produced in the world should be imported tariff-free. But in the case of TPP, only the digital product produced in TPP partner country should be imported tariff-free. So in a sense, the scope is narrow. And then, the next two items, location of the facility and source code, is some new innovation in the TPP. This has not been covered by FDA before TPP. And those two are very similar to the idea of the prohibition of the performance requirement. So no party shall require a covered person to use or locate computing facility in that party's territory as a condition for conducting business. So you cannot say that if you want to do the e-commerce business here, you need to have computer in China. You cannot say that. Computer can stay anywhere in the world. You cannot use the location of the computer facility as a condition to conduct business. And then, unsolicited message and domestic electronic transaction payment, those two are also newly covered by TPP. And the second one is really interesting. Each party shall maintain a legal framework of governing electronic transmission consistent with the principle of the Universal Model Law on Electronic Commerce 1996 or the United Nations Convention on the Use of Electronic Communication in the International Contract. And then there is a cooperation provision in the TPP e-commerce chapter. And they try to assist the use of e-commerce by SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, but that is best ended by trade. Finally, I'd like to talk something a little bit about this is final slide, the sensitive issues, which may have some implication for China in the future. One is information flow. Past FDA signed by US includes best endeavor flows, but relatively broad scope. With relatively broad scope. For example, US Korea FDA said that shall endeavor to refrain from imposing or maintaining unnecessary barriers to electronic information flows across borders. In the case of TPP, obligation is there is obligation, but the scope is relatively limited. For example, Article 14.11, each party shall allow cross-border transfer of information by electronic means, including personal information, when this activity is for the conduct of the business. So you cannot limit the information flow if the party uses it for business purpose. Other than business purpose, this treaty is really silent. So we cannot say that you need to perfectly free the information flow, which is sign PPP. You cannot limit the information flow if that is used for business purpose. So this is very strong in a sense that this is hard discipline or the hard obligation, but at the same time scope is limited. And finally, cybersecurity is also covered by TPP, but this is best in the workflows. So yeah, this is my analysis of TPP. And this is my end of my presentation. And if you have some comment, question, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hamana. 非常感谢金钟世太郎先生。我想这个台下的嘉宾可能跟我一样听过了这3场的非常精彩的演讲之后，都可能会有很多问题。但是呢，由于时间关系呢，我想我们3位演讲嘉宾会很乐意的在会后解答大家的提问。现在呢，我想时间差不多，我们这场会议呢就到此结束。非常感谢3位演讲嘉宾